Okay, for this question, I included this question because it looks like it's a lot of reading, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be a hard question. Okay, the first thing we want to do is look at the graph. The graph is talking about the number of times at bat and the number of hits. And this line is increasing. Okay, so as I move this way, as I increase this way, my numbers are also increasing this way. This is a positive slope. So when we look at the first question, it's asking us about the relationship. We want to pick the relationship that says bat times at bats are increasing and number of hits are increasing. Okay, so we're going to go through and read our choices. We want to pick the one that says increasing and increasing. So it's choice B. So it is, you have to read some sentences, but it's not that hard of a question. All right, the next one, it says for the player with 450 times at bat, the actual number of hits the player had is approximately how many fewer than the number of hits predicted by the line of best fit. So we're going to look at our graph and we're going to look at 450. Okay, 450 is this line right here. So we're looking at this dot and we're looking at the line. The dot's what actually happened. The line is what was predicted to happen. All right, so we're going to estimate these. That dot looks like it's about in the middle. So it's about like 112 maybe, because it's between 100 and 125. So probably 112. The line is right under 125. So let's just say 122 to make it an easy number. The difference is 10. Okay, the difference is 10. That's all it's asking. So you need to remember that the dots are what actually happened. The line is the prediction. All right, for this next one, when it says equivalent, it just means which ones are the same. So we have to go through our answer choices and we have to remember distributive property. Okay, so we're saying which one is the same as this. Okay, we have to remember that we can't put things together unless they have the same exact letters. The first choice is trying to trick you because you can't put these two terms together because the second term has an A and the first term doesn't. So they can't be combined. So we cannot do choice A for sure. Okay, if I distributed on choice B, I would get 39A and then plus, and I'd have to multiply here, 39 times 2. I get 78x, so that's not the same. Here, I'm just distributing like backwards. So that's 5x plus 8ax, so that's not the same. And then here, I'm distributing again, so that's 15x plus 24ax, so it's choice D. Okay, so this is this distribution property. Number 2, it's giving us a formula with letters, and it says we have to calculate distance, rate, and time. Okay, but it's asking us what is the formula R in terms of D and T. So it just means get R by itself. So when two letters are next to each other, that means they're being multiplied. So I gotta undo that with the opposite of multiplication. Opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm gonna divide both sides by T to get rid of the T. And then it says D over T equals R. That's all you have to do for that question. Okay, it's not anything complicated. You just have to understand what it's asking you to do. So if it asks you to solve for a letter, it just means get the letter by itself. Number 3, this is one that looks like it would be really complicated. It says, which of the following ordered pairs satisfies both equations? So ordered pairs mean an x and a y. So these are telling you plug in 0 for x, plug in -4 for y. If it makes it true, it works. So what I would do is plug in the easier equation first. So for the first one, 0 is x, -4 is y. This says 0 equals -8. That's not true, so that's wrong. And then go to the number 2. Or B. 2 is equal to 6 minus 4. 2 is equal to 2. That's right. So when you get one that's right, then you have to try it in the other equation because it says both. So over here, y is 6, 2 is x, and you just have to remember order of operations. You always have to do your exponents first, so that's 4. Then you have to do your multiplication, and then you can take care of your adding and subtracting. So 10 and 10 minus 4 is 6. Left side equaled right side, so it worked. So it's B. You don't have to waste your time checking the other ones then. It's nice when it's A or B, you don't have to do as much work. If it's C or D, you have to try a lot, but start with the easier one because that's less work. Okay, another way to ask you to do something really similar is to ask you for the solution. Since it's multiple choice, you can just plug in the answer choices and see which one makes the left side and the right side equal each other. Okay, that's one way to do it. That's the easier way to do it probably, because in order to solve this question, you would have to either factor or use quadratic formula, and you probably don't remember that question, how to do that. So that's why I say plugging them in is easier. So we just start with, I would start with 0 because 0 is the easiest thing to plug in. If I plug in 0 here and 0 here, I'm going to get 0 on that side because it would be 0 plus 0. Then I'd have 3 plus 0. That's clearly not equal, so that's wrong. The next easiest thing to plug in is a 1 or a -1, so I'm going to plug that in next. You just have to remember your order of operations. So on this side, you just look at one side at a time. Okay, do the exponents first, so that becomes 2 times 1. And then you got to do your multiplication. So 2 plus -4 gives me -2. So now I need to see, does this side equal -2 also? And I got to do my exponents first. And then I do my multiplication. And this is 6. So that didn't work. And then have to go through, try 3 or try 6. All right, if you go through and you try 3, plug in 3 everywhere, you're going to get that 3 works. Okay, just check your steps and do your order of operations correctly, and you'll get 30 equals 30. So this one is choice C. All right, number 8. A line is graphed in the xy plane if the line has a positive slope. So positive slope means it's got to be going up from left to right like that. And a negative y-intercept. Which of the following points cannot lie in the line? So they gave us 2 pieces of information. A negative y-intercept is somewhere down here, anywhere down here, and a positive slope. So it'd have to look something like that. So what we have to think about is, what quadrants does the graph pass through? It passes in 1. Okay, it's going to keep going up, so it's going to be over here. It's down here somewhere in 4, and it's over here in 3. Okay, there's no way that this graph is going to end up over here anywhere in quadrant 2. So when I go through my choices, I have to eliminate a point that is in this quadrant. So the first choice, -3 is down here. It could be that. Choice B, -3, +3 would be over here in this quadrant. So B is the one that's wrong. It will never pass through that. Okay, number 1. Number 1 looks like it's a lot of reading again, but it is not a hard question. Okay, it says high school counselor conducted a study over 16 consecutive quarters to determine the number of students with part-time jobs. Each student in the 2014 graduating class is surveyed once per quarter for all 4 years of high school. The graph below shows the data for each quarter when the survey was conducted. During which of the following periods is the increase in the number of students with part-time jobs the largest? So what we have to do is go through the choices and just subtract the numbers. So quarters 4 through 6. So if I look at quarter 4 and quarter 6, I can tell those numbers are super close together. If I wanted to estimate, I would say 6 is probably about 15 and 4 is probably 11 or 12. So this is going to be like 15 minus maybe 11. So that's going to be 4. And then I would just go through my choices and see which one's the biggest difference. So go ahead and do that. All right, so you can see if you estimate that there is one that is clearly way bigger than any of the other ones, and it's B. Okay, even if you estimated wrong, these are definitely smaller. Like if you got 5 for one of them or 2 for one of them, they're definitely way smaller than the 24. They're not going to be anything that's going to be like a super close call when you're estimating like that. All right, again, and the last one is an easy question, but you have to read it, but it's not hard. Eli saves money each month to buy a new computer. The total amount he saved T can be calculated by the equation T is equal to 83 plus 30M, where M is the number of months since he started saving. What does the number 83 represent? So it's saying T is the amount he saved. It's the total. M is the months. So if I want to figure out how much money I have saved, it's saying I take 30 times the number of months and I add 83 to it. What could 83 be? So read the choices. The amount he started with, the number of months, well, no, because it told me the M is the months. The amount of money he saved each month. The amount of money he saved each month is going to be the 30 because that's what you're multiplying the months by. So that's not it. The total amount, total we were already told was the T, so that's not it. It's the amount he started with. Okay, so again, it's not that hard of a question. You have to read it. They told you everything you needed in the problem. You didn't have to use a calculator. You just had to read it.